Okay, we've got three, maybe even four, maybe even five different things that we need to look at when we're buying a home. I think, period. Doesn't matter where you're going to buy. This is Glenn Stein with Realty Executives in the Villages and in Ocala, Florida. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday. Happy pre-Memorial Day weekend for those that have served, or if you knew people that served and have passed in the past. This is obviously a memorial to them, and definitely happy Memorial Day. If that doesn't fit the bill for you, try to enjoy your family, your friends, and do the best you can with what you got. Appreciate everything, right? Like, I think that's a big thing. I'm going to be talking about a few things today, about 3 or 4 different things that if you are buying, period, doesn't matter where you are, you should be looking at some of this stuff to actually help you buy a property. One of the things I'm trying to do on this particular channel is not just talk about basic stuff. I'm really trying to bring lots of value, things that are going to be really important to buying a property in a very challenging marketplace. I talk to realtors all the time, obviously being the broker here in the Villages and in Ocala, and also coach for the Tom Ferry organization and coaching people around the country. I really talk to them about how you can navigate the process and how you can help your buyers buy property when in many cases we're looking at lots of competition. We're looking at 3 or 4 or 5, or in some cases around the country, 40 or 50 buyers for one home. We're not seeing that here. We're seeing that in different areas, like in the Northeast. We're actually seeing it in Philadelphia. I've got a client in Philadelphia. Shout out to Beth McCarthy in Philly, who they're seeing right around the main line in Philadelphia. They're seeing 40 or 50 buyers per listing in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. Not the case here in the Villages, but what we're seeing here in the Villages and in Central Florida, we are seeing multiple offers. It's a very competitive marketplace. And to give you an idea, the 7-day numbers right now are 28 new properties have come on the market last 7 days, 62 pendings, so that's a 34 listing swing. Sold 63 properties. So 62 properties went off the market. They went under contract. 28 new properties, new listings. And by the way, I think there's some opportunity there to actually look at the pending properties as a backup offer, because we are seeing some cases. I want to tell you some stories today. One story is we are seeing a few cases where people are getting maybe cold feet, and listings are coming back on the market. And finding a realtor, finding an agent that is going to really help you navigate, maybe help you find properties that are not readily apparent and in front of everybody's eyes on MLS. Obviously, having some access and a contact with the VLS, which is the Villages Listing Service. There's some inventory there. There's some inventory that is kind of hidden, kind of shadow inventory, like the inventory of pending properties, some properties that might be coming back on the market, having an agent that's going to have a bead on what's available. And we do a caravan every Wednesday. I've put that caravan occasionally on this particular channel, and a lot of us will share not only what's on the market, but also I've got a buyer for this particular property. We're looking for something specific and special. And also, we talk about listings that are coming up. So, for instance, I had a conversation today with one of our great realtors, and they were talking about how there's a property coming up, actually 2 properties coming up, and how it's not ready to come on the market. It's going to come on the market on Friday, but it's got staging. There's some cleanup to do. Cleanup as in like minor, not super major cleanup, but minor cleanup, staging involved. Maybe they need to put away some valuable property, or they need to put it into a safety deposit box, or they've got some guns that they want, laying around. So they're getting the property ready for sale to maximize the value, because that's, what we do when we're representing the seller. Our goal is to maximize the value for the seller. But really what I want to talk about today are some things that you can do to, some value that we can add to buyers, and how we can help buyers move the needle and actually buy property. because it is very competitive. And I spoke about it last week, where I think, number one, it's very important not to, a lot of people don't want to be in competition, right? They don't want to overpay. Nobody wants to overpay. But the reality is that every buyer, guess what? You're always overpaying, because you're the person who wins. You're the person who paid the most for the property. So you're always overpaying. The question is, what's going to happen in the future? Are we in a housing bubble? Are we in a housing crisis? And it's something I address all the time. And I'm looking at these numbers hard and fast. And I try to be as unbiased as possible. And, sometimes you may think, well, are you really being, unbiased, right? Like, you want people to buy, you want people to sell. Like, really, I don't. I mean, if you don't want to sell, I don't think you should sell. If you don't want to buy, or if you don't want to get in competition, I don't think you should buy. Or for certain people, look, if they don't have enough money, especially now in this particular marketplace across the country, if you don't have enough money for closing costs, then I don't think you should buy. Now's not a great time for FHA buyers. VA buyers having some issues with buying because it has to appraise, number one, and with the values and the prices doing this, appraisals could be an issue. And so that's sometimes become a little bit difficult with VA buyers, but I know that some VA lenders are getting to the point where as long as it appraises for a certain amount, or if the buyer brings enough money to the table, because not every VA buyer is a zero down. That's kind of a misnomer and misunderstood thing, where people think that, oh, I've got to, the VA buyer doesn't have any money. That just means that maybe they don't want to use their money, and the interest rates are low, because there's a lot of that going on. Interest rates are low still. I'm also anticipating that interest rates will be going up probably later on this year because of some other things, but we'll talk about that. That's not the topic of today's conversation necessarily. We're going to be bringing some value to buyers. I've got some things I want to share with you in a minute. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do, right? Realty Executives in the Villages channel. I'm the broker, Glenn Stein. You guys know that, for many of you that have been watching and following along and seeing what's going on right now. We're continuing to see, even every week, we've got less and less inventory. And just giving you a rehash, 28 new properties have come on the market, which is probably about 10 to 15 low. Pending property 62. So still significant activity from the buyer side. There's still listings coming on the market. I can think of 5 to 6 listings right now that are going to be coming on the market, because I've had the conversations with my agents here in the Villages. So the first thing I want to share with you, I've shared with you a couple of tricks already, or things that you need to do if you're going to buy successfully. One, having patience. Two, you do need to do as much research as possible in the beginning, so that way when you're in the negotiating process, you're not going to feel like you're rushed. Because what is going to invariably happen is that there's going to be competition for the best properties, the best looking properties on the market. You're going to have competition. There's no doubt about it. If it was a dog of a property, nobody's looking at it. Even those properties are starting to sell, and they're moving off the market. And give you an example, I'll tell you a story. We've got a couple of those properties on the market within the company, and they've been on the market for 30 to 40 to 50 days. And like, oh my gosh, 30 to 40, 50 days. That's like forever. That's like 3 to 4 months. The reality is they're probably going to sell in the next 30 days, because we're starting to see the values go up. And give an another example. I've looked at the properties that are under 200,000. There's only a handful, and the only properties that are under 200,000 are either some mobile homes, the manufactured housing in the historic section, which is in the east side of the Villages, or 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, right? Those patio villas that are 2-1s. So the bottom is going up. Like, the bottom level is no longer 150. Now we're seeing 200 plus. Also, for the best properties, the properties that are, the pool homes, the ones on a golf course, that has risen too. So it used to be you can find something in the 4s, and we had a couple of properties just go under contract in the last 7 days that were on the golf course in the very northern sections of the Villages, which is the older not oldest section, but a little bit older and a little bit further away from the action, from Sumter Landing, from Spanish Springs, from Brownwood, further north. These town squares are, Spanish Springs more to the east, Lake Sumter Landing further south, and then Brownwood at the almost the southernmost point near Finney and, towards 44. If you're not familiar with those areas, maybe something we'll probably do in the near future is actually tour the villages. We'll do a little bit more of that, but I want to do something a little bit different than what you're seeing in other places. So that's basically what we're seeing. Inventory being low, prices are going to go up. There's still inventory. I had this conversation with a realtor this morning, and we're talking about inventory. And I think it's important for everybody to understand there's always inventory. There's never a point where there's no homes on the market. There's always, and especially here in the villages, there's always attrition here. Either people moving for bad reasons, they've passed away, or they're moving because they want to upsize or downsize, or find something a little bit with a better view. They want to change locations, or they're getting closer to family, right? Like they might be moving, further north. The other dynamic that we're seeing that's also very interesting is moving from different areas of the country that we didn't see before. Lots of West Coast people are moving in our direction. But the three things that I want to share with you today, here are the three, let me get to the crux of the matter. I'm giving you a lot of content, a lot of information, but I want to share with you the three things. The first one is, not only having patience, but having your buyer's agent connect with the listing agent and find out specifically what's important to the seller. Not, okay, what's your bottom line price? In a seller's market, first of all, that's not a great question to ask. And I know it sounds like, oh, you're just trying to drive the prices up. Not really. That's not really my goal. My goal is to help you navigate as a buyer how to navigate the process so you can actually win and buy the home that you're looking for. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it is price. Paying the most amount of money sometimes is the way to go. An escalation clause could be a thing to use. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. But more of what I want to talk about is finding out what is the motivation, but not putting it in those terms, like what's the motivation. In other words, it could be more money. It could be more time. It could be more time. I need to stay in this property longer because I need to look for another one. So maybe you need to construct or have your agent or realtor construct a post-occupancy agreement, right? Oftentimes we're in the seller's marketplace. We have to give, on the buyer side, we have to give more, right? And sometimes it's money, sometimes it's limited time and inspection, sometimes it's not worried about an appraisal. If you're paying cash, it's not so much of an issue. But more time could be a real play for you, right? Like post-occupancy, allowing the seller to stay longer, or allowing the seller more time to find a property so they don't feel like they're homeless. That's a big issue around the country, by the way. Like that's a major play that you might have to implement wherever you're buying, wherever you are. It's not just unique to here. The other thing is looking at, you might have to buy the furniture. Maybe you don't even want the furniture. There's furniture there just to make it easy for the seller. Just to make it easier for the seller. They've got furniture and maybe they don't want to deal with it. Or there might be a minor repair you might have to deal with, right? There might be not a major, and of course, doing an inspection is always a good thing. And I obviously always recommend that. Termite inspection, home inspection, we know that. Those are basics. But, might have to allow the seller to, all right, it's a $500 repair. Buyer will say, I'll take care of it. Now, once again, look, the asterisk is, if it was flipped and we're in a buyer's marketplace, buyers call the shots, sellers need to cater to buyers, right? I'm not in favor of one side or the other. It's just a matter of, okay, as a buyer, how do I win against competing offers? How do I win when there's more competition going on? Like that's the deal. It's like, how do we absolutely win in this particular marketplace as a buyer? Okay. One of those ways is obviously more time post-occupancy. Another way is obviously making it easier. It might be buying the furniture. It might be, I will, don't worry about the repair. right? Don't worry about that, which, by the way, I want to address something before I get to the last and third one, which is the as is and the non as is. This is the state of Florida, right? Can't speak for other states, but as is and non as is. A little bit of education, which I've gotten into this, but this may be the first time for you to actually watch this, but I want to mention this. Understand the differences between as is contract in Florida and non as is. You may think you know as is. Okay, I don't want an as is contract as a buyer. You might want to. An as is contract in Florida gives you an out, a bigger out of the contract if you don't like anything in the inspection report. The non-as-is allows the seller to decide whether they're going to fix or not. And if they don't, then the buyer has the right to get out of the contract. They are obligated up to a certain amount with the inspection repairs, but a little bit of information. Make sure you're buying in Florida. Know the differences. Have your realtor explain the differences. As is contract, non-as-is. Explain it to me, please. And of course, you're looking for a realtor that has a heart of a teacher that will teach you, will assist you, will walk you through the process. They're not pushing you. They're not forcing you. We're not, we're not in that business. We've been in this marketplace. Realty Executives has been in this marketplace for 17 years, right? Since '04, right? It's going to be 17 years at the end of this year. We're number one in this marketplace. We've got a great name. We've got a good reputation. And it's always something that's really, really important to us to do the right thing. So get educated about that. I'll probably do some more education on that as is, non-as is contracts, the next, soon, because I want to bring more and more value and a little bit of the insight, some of the unique things that maybe you're not used to seeing. Then the last one is on the post-occupancy. And this is something to check on with your lender if you're, borrowing. If you're not, you're paying cash, it doesn't matter. Then negotiating how many days you're going to allow the seller to stay. And look, if this is a valuable property and a hot property, you may allow the seller to stay for free. That might be a thing. It's negotiable. It's negotiable. In the seller's marketplace, you might have to do something like that. Or maybe rent for an inexpensive amount, but be prepared. I think it's important to be prepared that when you're the buyer in today's marketplace, you do have less leverage, right? And I've seen some offers, stories of buyers coming in and offering, 10, 15, 20% less in this marketplace. I'm like, no, that's not the right move. So pay attention to that. So 55 days seems to be the number that underwriters are looking at with lenders. If you're borrowing money, 55 days is the earmark to allow someone to stay after closing. Because for many properties, many lenders, they do not want to see that you are allowing somebody to stay longer. They don't want it to be a rental property. So 55 days is the magic number for many underwriters. But connect with your lender, connect with your mortgage person or bank, to make sure that that's okay if you are borrowing money. So a recap, covered a lot. Still, the trends are, moving right downward pressure on inventory. Still does this. Prices are doing this still. And I think we're going to see that for a bit. That's my estimation. A lot of people, I'm getting a lot of comments, especially here on YouTube, like, you don't know what you're talking about. This, housing bubble is coming, housing crash. I don't see it. And the numbers, and basically the reason why I don't see it is that, and I did this video a couple of weeks ago. It's actually probably the most watched I've had is, millennials causing the crash. The reality is millennials are buying like crazy right now around the country, and that's forcing people. There's not enough housing involved, and we've got much more. We've got heavy pressure on supply. Supply is lower or normal. Demand is higher than what it is. So you've got that. You've taken some economics courses, the pricing will go up. That's basically what we're seeing in the United States and in some other areas as well around the world, some places, but definitely here in the United States. So maybe allowing more time, maybe buying the furniture, maybe waiving inspections, maybe limited time for inspection. Maybe you're going to bring the home inspector with you during showing. Could be a way to waive the inspection. I'm not worried about repairs, but you bring the home inspector with you and they do the walkthrough with you. Could be an option, a little trick, a little bit of a hack, just to do a walkthrough with you. And then the last, of course, is the number of days for post-occupancy if you are borrowing money. If you have questions, we talked about a lot today. If you have questions, feel free to connect with me. My name is Glenn. I'm the broker owner of Realty Executives in Villages and Ocala, also a coach for many agents for the Tom Ferry organization, real estate trainer. And I don't know much. I know a lot about this. I know this really well. I probably know a little bit about sports. I don't know anything else about anything else except for this. This is my thing, and I study it a lot. So if you have questions, reach out 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796. You can visit us at buysellthevillages.com, as you see here on the screen, and be happy to connect if you need a referral, if you are needing someone, you want a great agent to help you sell, or a great agent to help you buy, no matter where it is, by the way. I know people everywhere around the country. I can help you with that type of thing. Just connect with me. Text me, call me. And if you don't find me, I stay pretty busy, but leave a message for me, and we will absolutely connect. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Happy Friday, and look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Please subscribe to this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.